Alright, so I want to talk about a book which I read by Vonnegut. This is called Mother Night. Um, I finished it like last week, and now I want to do a video about it. This, among a lot of his other books, are great. It's a great book. Yes, it was a great read. It was satirical and funny, and like kind of like all of his are, and they all, just like this one, had like a little message in it. So I want to like talk about this and talk about the theme of we are what we pretend to be. This novel is about a guy named Howard W. Campbell Jr. and he is he grew up in the States, and then he, during the height of the war, or the beginning of the war, he went to Germany and basically became a Nazi radio propagandist, and he wrote a lot of plays, he wrote a book, a lot of stories, and all these different things, and he it's written from a when he's in a jail cell in Israel, I believe, and he is talking about his whole life, about how he married this woman named Helga Noth, and he had this the first thing I want to talk about before I get the main theme out of the way is the idea of the Nation of Chu. The Nation of Chu is a concept in this book which is of him and his wife Helga. Now, I love this thing because I feel like me and my fiance are a Nation of Chu. And they're a Nation of Chu because they are of the same yoke. They're yoked together. They are almost one unit. They are so in love, and they're so connected in that way. And basically, I love that because when I was reading that part, I told my fiance about it, and I read the first part of this book like a month ago, and then I finished it like last week. And I told her about this like a month ago, and since me and my fiance are kind of bigger people, we always do this to each other. Which she tells me that this means F, so we go, this F means fat, so we go fat nation of two. So it's kind of like before that we just went, because we're like weirdos. So then when I told her about this, we kind of added that, and it became the fat nation of two. And that's what we are. And I wouldn't say that we're fat any bigger, but I don't know. I loved that. I think it was great. It was great how he talked about his love for his wife and all that. And what happened was she died in the war at a camp, I believe, not as a prisoner, but as somebody else. So pretty much what happens is when the war ends, he leaves Germany, leaves all of his stuff there, all of his books, all of his stories and everything there in the trunk, and he goes to New York and has an attic apartment there, and he is basically fleeing because Israel is gonna want him for trial of war crimes. Basically, is what they're gonna want him for, and so he stays there. He meets a guy named George Kraft, who was apparently also a Nazi or a German sympathizer of the Second World War, and to get to the very bottom of it, it's just a great read. I don't want to go through the whole thing of it because you have to read it. It's great. If you like Vonnegut at all, if you like Bradbury, if you like Philip K. Dick, which I have not read a whole lot of Philip K. Dick yet. Pretty much if you like any writer, and you should try one of his books. I would recommend as a first book, if you want to try out Vonnegut and see how you like him, I would go for Slapstick first. Slapstick is a novel of his, which is the first novel that I really read by him, and I loved it, and I bought it. I have it on my shelf. It's a great book, and I want to reread it again sometime after I've read everything of his. I'm going to reread that first. So he meets Helga again, and he basically thinks it's Helga, has relations with her, and then the day after that finds out that it's his little sister. It's Helga's little sister, Rezi. And Rezi apparently had a crush on him when she was younger, and Rezi pretty much came there. She left Germany. She left East Germany with the name Helganoth in order to get across the border, where with the name Rezinoth she would not have crossed the border of East Germany to West Germany. And so it turns out that the girl that he now has found is Rezi, not Helga. Helga is gone, and he continues to love her. And now I know this is a spoiler, so I think if you should have read this by now. Pretty much, Rezi and George Kraft turn out to be Soviet Union spies, and they want to also get Howard Campbell to Russia to bring him up for trial also. And it turns out that Rezi she loves him and she doesn't want to do that. So I won't tell you what happened any further. I've kind of spoiled the book a little bit already for you if you haven't read it. Basically, why is this the "we are what we pretend to be" theme? Why is this that theme? This is that theme because this guy, as an American person, went to Germany and became this Nazi propagandist who he wasn't. He was masquerading as somebody else. He was pretending to be somebody else. As was Rezi when she went to the U.S. to find Howard as Helga. And it turned out that Rezi ended up loving Howard as Helga did, and I won't tell you what happened there. But pretty much at the end, Howard, and the U.S., Israel wants the U.S. to extradite Howard to Israel for trial, and Howard won't, and the U.S. will not do that. And so he hides there, but then he chooses to go to Israel and stand trial. And what happened there is is that he got out. He did not get convicted because his friend Vertanen of the U.S. made it clear to the court that Campbell was helping out the U.S. So that's how he got out. But the whole point of this is that he put on a mask. He was masquerading as somebody else, and he paid for it. He had to pay for it. He pretended to be somebody else, and basically became that person, and had to pay for it. But he ended up not having to, and he ended up with a new slate, new everything, perfect, like new clean slate after he got out, and then he was finally himself. And I think the whole theme of this book is that we are, the theme is we are what we pretend to be, and the truth of that is that whatever mask you're going to put on, you're going to become that. Essentially, you're going to become it enough that you're going to live that part out, and you're going to pay whatever consequences, or you're going to deal with whatever consequences, good or bad, come with that. And I think that's pretty interesting. And all of the Vonnegut novels have a theme about the human, about humans, as to how they act, and he is very satirical as to how they act, and thinks that we mess things up, and that we are trying to help things, or to help ourselves, or to help somebody else out, or whatever, but we end up messing it up because that's just kind of who we are. And I think Vonnegut's works kind of show a lot about who we are as people. I think I could probably go on and on talking about thoughts about Vonnegut's novels, but I think I'll stop here. If you have any thoughts, or you think I left something out or messed something up on the themes of Mother Night, and if you've read it, tell me what you thought, and thank you.